Okay, so this is a lesson on our second day of solving systems of conic sections. I have 3 problems that I'd like you to warm up on. Please solve them algebraically, do not solve them graphically, and you leave all your answers exact. You should pause the video at this point for a couple minutes because I'm just going to start working on the solutions. Okay, so when I look at number 1, I see that it's a good problem for elimination. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide which variable I want to eliminate. And I think the variable I'm going to want to eliminate just because of, because it's right there, I'm going to eliminate the x. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to multiply the first equation by -5. So I'm going to have -5x squared minus 30 y squared equals -45. I'm going to recopy the other equation. And I'm going to add down. When I add down, that gives me -29y squared equals -29, which is like really exciting because that's easy. So now I got y squared equals 1. So my possibilities are I have y equals 1 and y equals -1 as the coordinates where this ellipse and this other ellipse, where these two ellipses intersect. So thinking about ellipses, I know that ellipses can either intersect, most likely are going to intersect in either 2 or 4 points. So it's looking like they're probably going to intersect in 4 points. I can see both my ellipses are centered at the origin. And they've got different major axes based on the fact that they have different, they're going to have different larger denominators. So I'm going to plug the y equals 1 into the top equation. Doesn't really matter, I just think it's easier because I'll be solving for x to do that. So I'm going to have for y equals 1, x squared plus 6 times 1 squared equals 9. Which gives me x squared plus 6 equals 9, which gives me x squared equals 3. So x equals plus or minus √3. Then for y equals -1, I'm also going to plug it into the same equation. We'll do this one in red. And we've got x squared plus 6 times -1 squared equals 9. Now at this point I realize, you know what, this is going to go the exact same way the other one did because I'm still going to have 6 and then I'm going to subtract and get 3. So we're going to get x equals plus or minus √3. Now what's important to realize is I do have 4 points here, so I'm going to have to scroll down. You're not going to be able to see the problems for just a sec. Oh wait, hold on. Alright, did a little rearranging and now I have room to write my answers. So I've got 4 ordered pairs here. And they are, first I've got, oops, scrolled down, didn't scroll down enough, there we go. So first from the green, I've got √3, comma 1, -√3, comma 1. And then from the red, I've got √3, comma -1. And also from the red, I've got -√3, comma -1. And those are the 4 solutions for problem number 1. Let's take a look at problem number 2. So here I've got a circle and a circle. So I'm probably going to have 2 solutions, just thinking ahead. This one's a really easy problem because I'm going to really quick eliminate both the x squareds and the y squareds by multiplying the top equation by -1. Then when I do that and I add down, I'm going to have, and you got to be careful because the equal signs aren't, vertically lined up. So the x squareds and the y squareds will cancel, and I'll have 8x plus 7 equals -9. And then I'm going to have 8x equals -16, x equals -2. So now I'm going to plug that back into the first equation because honestly it's easier. And I've got -2 squared plus y squared equals 9. 4 plus y, oops, I don't know what that was about, plus y squared equals 9. Y squared equals 5. So I'm going to have y equals plus or minus √5 for this problem. So my 2 ordered pairs where my 2 circles cross will be -2 √5 and negative 2, negative root 5. So that's problem number 2. Let's take a look at problem number 3. So here's number 3, and I look at it and I see I have an ellipse because positive but different coefficients, and I have a parabola because I've only got one squared term. So my decision is going to be to eliminate the x squared terms by multiplying the second equation by negative 4. So that's going to give me, I'm just going to recopy this one. So I'm going to have 4x squared plus y squared minus 4y minus 32 equals 0. And then I'm going to have negative 4x squared plus 4y. Ooh, this is fun. This is going to cancel. That's exciting. And then plus 28. Just check my arithmetic. Looking good. Equals 0. Now when I add down, I'm going to have y squared minus 4 equals 0, and that gives me y values of plus and minus 2. So I need to plug plus and minus 2 back into one of these equations. Obviously, I'm picking the second one. It's way less complicated. So we'll do that in red. So first, let's do y equals 2. So we're going to have x squared minus 2 minus 7 equals 0. Well, that gives us negative 9, so x squared equals positive 9, and we get x equals plus or minus 3. So now we're going to plug y equals negative 2 into that equation. So we'll have x squared minus negative 2 minus 7 equals 0. And that's going to give us x squared minus 5. So add 5 and take the square root, and we're going to get x equals plus or minus the square root of 5. So we've got 4 points. So our ellipse and our parabola intersect probably like, this, where there are 4 points of intersection. So let's write them down. So from the red, we get 3, 2, and negative 3, 2. And from the green, we get root 5, negative 2, and negative root 5, negative 2. Okay, I'm going to turn the page and show you the homework answers from last night, and if you have any questions, you can see me on the next school day at lunch. So here we go. There they are. I want to just point out, number 11, this is ridiculous. You have to use a quadratic formula for it. I probably would not give you one like that on an assessment because you would all cry. It's not my goal to make you cry. And number 15 has no solutions. That one weirds people out a little bit. But the rest of them are pretty straightforward. Just be a little careful because some of them you'll solve for the first variable, and then when you plug the second variable back in, you won't get a real solution. That happens like with number 13 and a few others. Alrighty, so we've got 2 more problems we're going to do together, just for review, and then you can get started on your homework. So, again, please pause the video and work on these 2. Okay, so the first one is set up super awesome for substitution, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to put it here. So that's going to give me, let's see, 3x squared plus 1 squared. Who thinks that's terrible? Oh my God, guys, if we multiply this out, we're going to get x to the 4th. I think this is a bad idea. I think we should try something else. What else could we do? We shouldn't substitute. That makes a mess. Ooh, look. X squared and x squared. So even though this problem is set up for substitution, you should try to substitute it. That's the right decision. But then when it becomes like a hot mess with something to the 4th power, you need to say, whoa, doggy, this is a bad idea. And maybe we should try something else. That is why your pencil contains an eraser. And then we have an unlimited amount of scratch paper. So let's eliminate the x squareds instead. So I'm just going to negate the entire first equation. Let's see what happens. So that's going to give us 3y squared minus y, x squareds cancel, equals 10. Okay, so I gotta solve this. It's quadratic. Let's pull the 10 over. And let's see if we can split the middle. Let's factor before we start going to other crazy methods. So let's see, 3 times negative 10 is negative 30. What adds to negative 1 that multiplies to negative 30? Negative 6 and negative 5. So I'm a foiler, so I'm gonna set it up that way. If you're a boxer, you should set it up that way. So let's group out these guys and then group out these guys. Take out the 3y, y minus 2, plus 5, y minus 2. All right, so we've got 3y plus 5 and y minus 2. So that gives us, I'm going to have to slide this down a little bit, give myself some more space. Or are these connected? Wait, maybe they're not. Are you connected? No, even better. Put you down here. All right, so that's going to give us y equals negative 5/3 and y equals 2. So let's plug in the negative 5/3 first. See what happens, because I know you're all about ready to pee your pants because it's a fraction. I got you, homie. So we got negative 5/3 equals x squared plus 1. We'll subtract the 1, so I'm going to kind of subtract 3/3 because it's easier to think about. So negative 5/3 minus 3/3 gives me negative 8/3 equals x squared. Oh no, I can't get a real solution out of that. See, you were all nervous about the fraction. There was nothing to be nervous about. It wasn't even that helpful. Crossed you out. No solution from that guy. Not real. Won't won't. All right, let's go to the other guy. So we've got y equals 2, so we're going to say to the first equation, 2 equals x squared plus 1. Ooh, this is nice. Subtract the 1. 1 equals x squared. Then x is going to be plus or minus 1. We get two happy problems here. We've got 2 happy solutions. Ba-bam. That's a good problem. I like that problem. If I was writing the test, I would write a problem like that one. Let's take a look at the second one. So we've got an ellipse on the origin, and we've got a hyperbola on the origin, and I would bet, if I had to guess, that these are going to cross 4 times. Because if you just think about it, I mean, like, ellipse, hyperbola, probably going to cross 4 times. So let's look. How do we want to eliminate this? Well, there's definitely one idea that's better than the other. Which one do you want to eliminate, x or y? Correct. You want to eliminate the y's. And how are we going to eliminate the y's? Correct again. Multiply by 3. So that's going to make our top equation into 27x squared plus 3y squared equals, oh damn, don't pick up your calculator. So let's think. If I have 3 times 5, that's 15. If I have 3 times 80, well, that would be 240, because you just like add the 0 and then 3 times 8. So if I add those together, I get 255. Look, we did it. All right, so now I'm going to recopy the second equation. Add down. 29x squared equals 261. And I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, that is like a really big number. But you know what? You have a couple choices here. You can use repeated addition, or you could use your good smarts. I'm going to use my good smarts. I've got a 29 here. If I had 29 times 10, that would be 290. I don't have 290 here. I have 261. If I subtract off, because it's kind of close, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, it's close to 10. If I subtract the 29, that would give me 261. Ta-da! So it's x squared equals 9. I want to point out, like, I noticed if I multiplied this number by 10, it was close. So I multiplied it by 10 and then I subtracted 29. And I might have had to do it again, and it might have been 8. I didn't know. It was a surprise. So So I've got x equals plus or minus 3. So let's solve. Here we go. X equals 3. And we'll do, what color? X equals. All right, so first off, x equals 3. We'll do it in purple. So, I'm going to go to the second equation because that 85 is really not something I want to play with if I don't have to. It's not like I'm afraid of it. I'm not afraid of you, 85. But I'd rather do with the second equation. So that's going to be 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Subtract the 18. Negative 3y squared equals negative 12. Divide by 3, y squared equals 4. And we get y equals plus or minus dose. Now I want to point out that first equation, I'm not afraid of it. I'm going to take it on. 9 times negative 3 squared plus y squared equals 85. Well, you know what? I think that one might be easier because negative 3 squared would be 9. 9 times 9 is 81. Plus y squared is 85. 85 minus 81 is 4. Square root of 4 is dose. Plus or minus dose. So now we've got 4 solutions. Like I said, this is a great problem. If I was writing the test, I might write a problem like this one too. So we've got our 4 solutions. First we've got 3, 2. We've got 3, negative 2. We've got negative 3, positive 2 from the blue. And also from the blue we have negative 3, negative 2. If you are too lazy to write out these points and you write plus or minus 3, comma, plus or minus 2, I will mark the entire problem wrong and write lazy in Sharpie marker on your test. Just warning you. All right, so at this point, what I would like you to please do is please get out your review sheet. It looks like this, at the top. The answers are hidden under this lovely white box, and I will reveal them in a moment. You have the review sheet, and I feel like there's 2 things here. There's a test review worksheet 1 to 5, and there's another worksheet that says practice questions, and then they're like sectioned off by section. So pause the video because I'm going to reveal the answers.